Once again, you already know what it is, and you already know where you have reached the number one up-and-coming professional wrestling combat sports podcast anywhere in the world. This is the Hubbard Wrestling Weekly podcast, and we are really excited to bring you the most recent and newest installment of HUBBanomics Superstar Profiles. Let's get fired up about this thing. 20 minutes or less superstar profiles in the world of professional wrestling. It is a fun topic today. We got a lot to talk about. A very important topic because you have to understand this particular entity in the world of professional wrestling have just recently made their return. So we're looking at a possibility of something really special, to which case I hope the WWE is able to take advantage of this opportunity and make it count for something. We're talking about the Wyatt Six. Yes, the Wyatt Six. First and foremost, welcome to HUBBanomics. It is Saturday, July 20th, 2024, and we're keeping the momentum going. So let's get right into this thing, man. We're talking about Uncle Howdy, a.k.a. Bo Dallas. We're talking about Eric Rowan, Dexter Loomis, Joe Gacy, and Nikki Cross. We all know the lineage of the Wyatt Six and where it comes from. Obviously, rest in peace to the late, great Bray Wyatt, the patriarch, if you will, of this organization, of this group. And they've returned, and I'm glad that they have. And this is something I've been very critical of World Wrestling Entertainment, and rightfully so, for a lot of decisions that they've made. But I have to say that the Wyatt Six so far has been a breath of fresh air as it relates to character development and storyline. Obviously, they've originally set their sights on Chad Gable, and the Alpha Academy. We know that the Alpha Academy has broken up, and since their breakup, Chad Gable has been the focal point of the Wyatt Six. So there's a situation now where we have an opportunity to look at where this storyline is potentially going to go. Now, this most recent Monday night, Chad Gable got some help, and now it looks like even though the Alpha Academy has decided that they no longer want to be involved with Chad Gable, meaning Otis, Tozawa, Maxine Dupree. But now it looks like he's recruited some help, and now it looks like it might be a stable versus stable kind of vibe moving forward, as Chad Gable, along with his new recruits, let's say, are going to try and fend off the efforts of the Wyatt Six. There is, I guess you say there's visibly a lot to be intrigued by the Wyatt Six. Let's go down the parameters of the Wyatt Six right quick. Obviously, the patriarch, rest in peace to Bray Wyatt. Bo Dallas, if you remember his career from back in the day, you know, the man that made us believe. So now he's the man. He's the man, and he takes over for his late great brother as the leader of the Wyatt Six, or the Wyatt family as it was formerly called. And it's basically a who's who of professional wrestlers under the WWE umbrella that some people might say were underutilized, some people might say were underappreciated. And then one guy in particular who makes all the sense in the world, which is an original Wyatt family member, and that's Eric Rowan. So number one, I'm really excited that Eric Rowan is back in the fold as it relates to the Wyatt family. I want to focus on Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis, we all know his history in dealing with his NXT career, and then upon his return to WWE after having some time in the independents and also in Impact Wrestling, he became the thorn in the side of the one and only Miz. So that was a little bit of a storyline that took place not long ago, and then Dexter Lumis would go off the scene, and the original buzz of him returning to WWE was pretty strong, but it never really panned out as it relates to him really getting over the way we wanted him to get over. So now we look back and we're like, okay, so what can we do with this gentleman? And I think that him being added to the Wyatt Six is a really strong decision. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think you're really going to, put into effect the possibility of him being a factor that can make a difference with this group. So, that was something I was really happy about. I'm ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic about the addition of Nikki Cross. I know a lot of people felt like Alexa Bliss was the natural female addition to this group, considering her previous interactions with Bray Wyatt. However, you have to remember the last time, God rest his soul, that Bray Wyatt wrestled at WrestleMania, it was Alexa Bliss that cost Bray Wyatt the match at WrestleMania 37 against Randy Orton. So that team dynamic, the last time we saw Alexa Bliss with the Wyatt family, didn't really exist. So for me, though Alexa Bliss would have been a cool addition and a familiar addition, it really doesn't make that much sense as it relates to what we remember that took place a couple of years ago. So to bring in Nikki Cross, the person who retired, thank God, retired the 24/7 championship, the woman who's a former tag team champion, a former women's world champion as well on the Raw brand. She's had a pretty good career, but I think this could end up being her best work. I love the videotapes that she's dropping off to Michael Cole, and I guess you can presume that she's been dropping them off at the Pat McAfee show as well. I love the character. I love the fact that she seems to be in somewhat of a role. Everybody knows that Bo Dallas, a.k.a. Uncle Howdy, is the leader of the group. But if you look, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, if you look at how this storyline is played out, you can see that Nikki Cross has kind of taken the forefront as it relates to leading the guys out, especially last Monday night when Bo Dallas was attacked by the Creed brothers. Like I said earlier, the Creed brothers are now firmly entrenched in this storyline along with Chad Gable as Chad Gable's new recruits, now that Otis, Maxine Dupree, and Tozawa now no longer want anything to do with him. But you can see that, when Bo Dallas was getting attacked by the Creed brothers and Chad Gable, that it was Nikki Cross that led the guys to the ring, that seemed to be has been the catalyst for all the videotapes and things of that nature. So I like the fact that she's taking somewhat of a leadership role. But even if she's not the leader, obviously we know Bo Dallas is the leader. Even her not being the leader, I love her in this group. I think it fits her to a T. Joe Gacy, a guy who was really doing well in NXT. However, Joe Gacy never really achieved his full potential. I think you saw glimmers of possibility for this young athlete. However, it just never fully panned out the way we thought that it would. It turned out to be a situation that I guess you could say he now has really arrived in the world of professional wrestling. He is now a member of a faction that the entire wrestling world is talking about. He's now entrenched in a storyline that can elevate his career and even even when he was in Schism and he was the leader of Schism with The Rock's daughter. I mean, think about that. Ava Raine, The Rock's daughter, was in Schism, a group that Gacy was the leader of. But we all remember that a while back, I believe it was September of last year, that Gacy declared that the Schism was dead, and that was pretty much it. Ava Raine ended up posting a tweet saying goodbye to NXT. So the Schism kind of was like a shooting star in the world of professional wrestling and NXT, where it was like, okay, this could be something great, and then eventually just went off the scene. I don't know if it was a creative decision or things didn't just work out, because I thought that when Ava Raine joined the Schism, that Gacy and Ava and the entire group were going to go through the roof, but it didn't work out that way. So this is Gacy's second chance to really become a megastar, no pun intended, shout out to LA Knight, as part of this group. We know that in the world of professional wrestling, when you become a part of a professional wrestling stable, it gives you an outlet to be someone special down the road. I think Gacy's going to learn a lot from working with Eric Rowan. He's going to learn a lot from working with Bo Dallas. He's going to learn a lot. You got to remember, like I said, Nikki Cross is a former world champion, so you have to take her expertise into account as well. And then obviously, let's focus. So we talked about Eric Rowan, we talked about Dexter Lewis, Joe Gacy, obviously the former world champion Nikki Cross, and then of course Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas, like I said earlier, the Believe movement, everything that he did in being NXT champion early in his career, former world tag team champion. He's done some things. However, never really on the level of what his late great brother did. We remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a time when he was growing his facial hair and things of that nature that we thought that maybe Bray and Bo would unite with each other. That did not happen. Obviously, then when Bray Wyatt made his return at Extreme Rules before his untimely passing, that Uncle Howdy would make appearances, and it was obviously in the cards for brothers to work together. By the way, big shout out to WWE for the Bray Wyatt documentary. It was absolutely outstanding. So let's give credit where credit is due. That documentary on Bray Wyatt was bone-chilling in the best possible way, brought tears to my eyes. But Bo and Bray were definitely scheduled to work together. Uncle Howdy obviously was Bo Dallas. Bray Wyatt was back on the scene. But then when Bray Wyatt got sick and unfortunately from there passed away, it was left where Bo Dallas was kind of like flailing in the wind. So let's give WWE credit for bringing Bo Dallas back. So now this is Bo Dallas' chance, a.k.a. Uncle Howdy, to really ascend to levels that he's never seen before. Again, a former World Tag Team Champion, former NXT Champion, but nothing on the level of the Wyatt Six. The Wyatt Six really has the opportunity to be something amazing. Now, I like the initial feud, okay, guys? I like the fact that this team of Howdy and Rowan and Loomis and Gacy and Cross are going to focus their efforts on Gable and now the Creed brothers, okay? I think the addition of the Creed brothers is a strong move for Gable and his character. I like them being put together. It kind of gives me Teen Angle vibes. If you guys remember Teen Angle back in the day in 2003, 2004. So now you have an opportunity for these guys to kind of ascend themselves to another level in the midst of this Wyatt Six storyline. Now, we all know what's going to eventually happen. The Wyatt Six is going to run through the Creed brothers and Chad Gable. But it's very important to figure out where we go from here. After this impending feud with Gable and the Creed brothers, where does the Wyatt family go from there? Will there be championships? Now, I do have a theory. Now, I just said that I felt like Alexa Bliss was not the best move as it relates to the relation to the storyline of her turning on Bray Wyatt back at WrestleMania a few years back. But it wouldn't be the first time that WWE altered or did a diversion or did a change of pace in a storyline. It's not like it's impossible for Alexa Bliss to get back into the fold. And with that being said, imagine if Alexa Bliss joins that group and she and Nikki Cross, who, by the way, are former women's tag team champions, reunite and go after the women's tag team belts. I would love that. I would love that. But I say that to say this. This is a group that doesn't necessarily need a championship. I mean, Bray Wyatt is a former WWE World Heavyweight Champion, much deserved. This group doesn't necessarily need a championship. Like, would Bo Dallas or Uncle Howdy need to be the Intercontinental Champion, or would Eric Rowan need to be the United States Champion, or would Gacy and Loomis need to be the World Tag Team Champions? I don't necessarily believe that or think that they need that. Gold is always a good thing. It solidifies you, but I think this group, with the buzz that's surrounding them and the energy that they get with the lights going out and the fireflies, that they have an opportunity now to do something really special. So I'm really excited about where this could possibly go. I'm really excited about the what WWE is doing in this regard. Again, I'm very critical of World Wrestling Entertainment. I'm very critical of Paul Triple H Levesque. If you think that I'm not critical of him, listen to a previous episode of HUBBanomics where I talk about Paul Levesque as CCO very vividly. Check the archives. But here as we stand on this particular day, I think that WWE got this one right. WWE got this one right. The Wyatt Six being back is a good thing. I think it's something that could be very prosperous for the company. I think the fans are excited about it. We'll see what happens in a couple of days as we enter into Monday Night Raw on the 22nd. Again, today is Saturday, July 20th. Saturday, July 20th. So we have to see what happens. Will they be in SummerSlam? I don't know. But I know that there is something coming down the pike. It looks like it's going to be the Creed brothers uniting with Chad Gable to go up against the Wyatt Six. I think the Wyatt Six is the most creative thing that WWE has done in a long time. And I hope it continues to be successful. So with that said, we're going to get up out of here. I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm thankful for you guys being here. I hope you enjoyed this episode, 20 minutes, Superstar Profiles, HUBBanomics. This is the Wyatt Six episode. I hope you've enjoyed previous episodes. If you haven't checked out previous episodes, make sure you do. Like I said, the Triple H episode, the Learning Tree Chris Jericho episode, the Tony Storm episode, the Jack Perry episode. You guys really seem to enjoy the Ricochet episode. So make sure you check that out and a whole lot more. Make sure you get with us on Monday night, 6:05 Eastern Standard Time, where myself and Conrad Cushman bring you guys Clash of the Podcast on the EPW channel. And be ready. Get ready for a big episode of Hubbard Wrestling Weekly presents Clash of the Podcast right here on the Hubbard Wrestling Weekly channel as we have a WWE debate. It's going to be myself and Conrad bringing in the one and only Jesse from Pro Wrestling Shoots. We debate all things WWE on the doorstep of upcoming SummerSlam in Cleveland. So with that being said, my name is Sean Hubbard. God bless. Be encouraged. Evil never prevails.